Hello, it's Jimmy here at O'Reilly's Mobile Mechanic. Just got here an Isuzu Rodeo Denver, is it, or whatever? Isuzu D Max, sorry. 2.5 twin turbo. Okay, so the customer's issue is he's telling me the car is regenning. So he's driven 70 miles to me, and he said he's watched this regen chart, or whatever you'd like to call it. He's watched that go up and down at least 7 times. So he reckons it's done a regen at least 7 times on the journey down here. So he's not just recently bought the car, and when he took it for a service, he said the mechanic drained at least 12 litres of oil from it. Then the mechanic was topping it up with oil, and he wasn't really sure how much to put in it. So these are some of the stories I'm going to be telling you. So the mechanic, is what the customer told me, didn't really know how much oil to put in. He was just topping it up, checking the dipstick, topping it up, checking the dipstick. But these customers telling me that he didn't really wait more than 5 seconds after putting another litre in to pull the dipstick. Then he put another litre in. So he's not sure if the mechanic's overfilled it, but he thinks that the oil level again might be overfilled, and of course that's going to cause a problem. So this problem that he's got, where the DPF is getting full on that chart down there, and then it would regen and come down halfway, but then it would get full again. There's a few different reasons why that could happen. The DPF itself is like a honeycomb ceramic filter with loads of tiny little pinholes in it, and if the DPF is damaged, those pinholes can contract and get smaller. So that would simulate a block DPF with soot, but it's not soot, it's a DPF's damage. So the car is going to constantly try and regen to correct that, but it's never going to be able to do it because the DPF is damaged. Or you've got the other situation where if it is overfilled with oil is going to be coming past, it has to escape somewhere. It's going to be going through the breather, come back out the exhaust valves, into the turbo, into the DPF. And if there's oil getting into the DPF, soot is going to stick to the oil. You're never going to get rid of the problem. So it can be one of those issues. So what he wants me to do is try and have a look at it and try and clean the DPF, and hopefully we can get this issue resolved. He's not long just bought the car, and he did admit to me that he bought the car at least 6 grand under the value that it was, and he was sort of suspicious to why that happened. But he said he bought it off someone who was in their 80s, and he trusted the guy and he bought it. But regardless, if he's bought it cheap, he's got some money to spend on it. But I haven't got a clue how much it is to replace the DPF on this, or if this quote seems realistic or not. But he said he's been quoted over 5.5 grand to replace the DPF. So I've got the Launch UK Eurotab 3 here, it's just loading up. We're going to try and hopefully just get a quick connection on this. We might have to put the chassis number in, knowing some of these Asian vehicles, they can be a bit of a pain in the arse to get connected to. I have done 2 of these in the past. Not many, I don't see many Isuzus, but I've done a couple in the past. Let's try and do an automatic search. 2008, enter, if it's before 2008 you have to enter the VIN number. What? Let me go back and read that again. Don't know what happened there, but looks like we're into it's probably not going to read. Let me try and get this connected correctly. Okay, so I've just done the chassis number manually. Now we should be in correctly. There's a lot less modules now. Airbag. Why have we got the engine blank? System is not supported on this vehicle. What? Right, let me go back. I'll have to try something else. Select area. What year is this? Okay, trying everything. I can't really get into the engine on this, so let me try an OBD, otherwise I'll have to use a different scan tool. Okay, so we're in, and from what I could see we have no fault codes. No fault code. So let's go to live data, see if we can find the DPF stuff. Okay, we've got live data up here, but we don't seem to be having much luck with what I'm looking for. Particle filter pressure 3000, that can't be right. Some of these are not supported, so let's go back. I might have to try a different tool on this. Okay, so I'm going to try this auto fix. It's coming up as here as 2015, but it's found it automatically, so that's looks like good news. We might have better luck. Let's try that. This is why you always need different scan tools, like I said in many of my videos before. One tool will always work better on a certain vehicle. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the live data. Like I said, there is no fault codes, so we just need to try and check some live data, see what we're looking at. Particle accumulation status, diffuser mode. Let's see what we got. Exhaust pressure 1 kPa. So 1 kPa is about 10 millibars, which is sort of borderline of where you'd want it to be. Let's hold the revs up a little bit. So the DPF looks generally okay. I mean, at idle we are a little bit above where you want it to be, sort of 1.1, 10 or 11 millibars of pressure. It's arguably don't really need a DPF clean, really. I mean, yeah, we'd like to see that down to sort of 0.5 kPa, so half of where it is, 4 or 5 millibars of pressure. It's currently sitting at about 11. I'm sort of thinking that the oil levels on this is what's causing the problem. And if we say we flush out any oil that's in there, so it had 12 litres of oil in there. If it's had 12 litres of oil in there, it's going to need flushing out. So we maybe clean out the oil that's in there, reset the DPF values, and I'm pretty sure that this should be okay, because I don't really see an issue with the DPF itself. I was expecting to see a lot more higher pressure than that. But if we flush it, I want to see that pressure that we've got at 11 down around sort of 4 to 6 millibars max, 2 to 6 millibars max. Okay, so I've got the dipstick out now. I can see where confusion from the last mechanic was, where he's done the oil change. You can see it's just been done. What I would consider to be the oil levels is this is the minimum and that's the maximum, but we've got this extra piece up here, then you get to this X and it's filled to here. The mechanic filled it back to this line, which I think is above where it should be. I'm pretty sure it should be down here. Really confusing looking dipstick though. So you can see there when we check the dipstick, the oil level is above the X. I'm pretty sure it should be down here. I'm going to try and look at the handbook. So luckily the customer's got the service manual in here. You can see minimum, maximum is there where I just looked at, and then this is sort of your leverage way where it needs a service. If it gets to here, it's your dangerous point basically, but it allows this much for oil dilution. All of these Asian cars do have oil dilution issues, and obviously they're allowing for that with this area here. But the last mechanic, he did say he topped it up and he weren't too sure, so he just filled it back up. He took 12 litres out and he's put a lot back in because he didn't want to leave the engine too low on oil. Okay, I've used the extraction pump to take some oil out. It's taken out about 6 litres. So we've now got the oil level just below that max level on the dot there. It could even do with going down a little bit more, but we'll leave it there. Okay, now I'm going to clean the DPF. I've got this DPF fluid here from Launch UK. Now this is a pre-mixed bottle. So what I'll do is I use the new bottle and I'll put half of it in here and then fill the rest with water. So you can pre-mix a couple of bottles and have them ready. This is the gun that it comes with. I'm going to connect that up to the DPF under the car now and to the compressor at 130 psi. So for under the vehicle here, we have the DPF right here, just below the driver's seat. I've just disconnected that hose. That's where we're going to be connecting our cleaner and fluid into. So I'll now use mine, push my hose on there, just like that. Now, like I said before, if there's oil in the DPF, you're never going to get that pressure down below the 10 or 11 millibars where it's sitting. So let's flush any crap out that's in there, and we'll start from fresh. Okay, now let's get back inside, start it up. Now I'll use this pedal depressor to hold the revs where I want them to sit, which would be around 3000 RPM. I'll just keep an eye on the exhaust here. Now we're just keeping an eye on that pressure there. We want to see that come down to sort of around 5 if we can. 4 or 5 kPAs. Five kPa would be sort of 50 millibar. We're down to sort of 5.3 at the minute. So it looks as though that's as far as it's going to go now. So now I'm just taking the vehicle on a test drive. What the customer is saying is within every sort of 10 miles that gauge down there goes to full, up to high, and then it would regen. You get the regen text to come up, and then the chart would start to come back down again. So we're just going to drive it around a little bit, see if that looks like it's increasing fast again. Okay, so after that drive we're sort of down around 4.6, 4.7 on the pressure. So the idle on it has only sort of come down to still 1 or 0.9, so it hasn't moved much at idle, but we've come down a fair bit on revs. Now what I'm going to do is just reset all of the data for the DPF and the oil. Okay, so we're going to do that now. Now that's done, we're going to reset the next ones. Now that's all done, we're just going to reset the maintenance down here, because we don't want that to affect the DPF as well. Engine oil has got 2400 miles left, so we'll reset that. It was already changed a few days ago. That's it, we're done. I'm just using the stock here to do that. Okay, so we've done a few miles with it up and down here. It all seems okay. So what the customer's going to do is, on his way home, he would normally regenerate sort of 7 or 8 times. So he's going to let me know what it's like on the way home now. But I'm pretty sure it should be okay now. Okay, that's it. I'm all finished on the Isuzu, and see you next video.